Welcome to Energy Ventures, the show where we discuss the status quo and trends in energy innovation with startup founders, industry executives, investors, and policymakers. The rapid pace of change towards a new energy system that is more digital, more decentral, and more decarbonized is in full motion. There is a significant rise of activity in startups in the energy sector, while at the same time, utilities trying to transform themselves, integrating with the startup world to ensure that they can defend the pole position in this new energy world. A very successful vehicle to bridge this gap is a venture fund backed by a large utility. Today, it's my great pleasure to have Jan Lozek, managing partner of Future Energy Ventures, on the show. The Future Energy Ventures Fund is one of the most successful international energy-focused venture funds, with over 60 startups, 250 million euros in their portfolio, and they created already 3 unicorns. Jan, welcome to the show. It's amazing to have you here, and I'm really looking forward to the discussion.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So before we go into the topic of Future Energy Ventures, I think it would be fantastic for the audience to get to know a little bit more about yourself. So it would be great if we can spend a few minutes on getting to know you, getting to know your background. How did you come up to the position where you are right now? What made you excited about Energy Ventures and so on?
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Pierre. Going back, I need to go back to my time when I was a teenager if I wanted to talk about energy transition and why I'm here. Because when I was a teenager, the main discussion was about forest diebacks, about chemistry incidents of industry in large industrial companies like BASF and Bayer. I'm not sure if all of you here remember that times, but this was the time when energy transition started and was started in Germany. And that time, that time inspired me in a way that I wanted to dedicate my time, my knowledge, my passion, my energy for creating a better energy system, a better system for our society. And as energy is global, it's a global target in the very end. Even it started in Germany, and now energy transition is in all mouths. It's the hottest topics for investors. That's the basis of Future Energy Ventures, and I'm really excited that I can lift this time with investors, startups, you, other partners, and really making the transition now happening. It took us a while since I was a teenager. I'm not sure if you can see it. My hair is gray. But after that time, I was a teenager. I then studied economics. I was the founder of digital businesses in Berlin. I was a digital advisor to large organizations like Siemens, RWE, and many other large industrial conglomerates. And since 2002, I'm part of the energy industry. I had senior executive positions in RWE and Energy and E.ON. And since 2016, I'm leading the venturing and innovation activities. First of energy, and now of E.ON, especially the venture capital business of E.ON.
Great. I mean, it sounds like a fantastic journey that led up to this point. So tell us a bit about Future Energy Ventures. So how did it evolve? You just mentioned that you were responsible for the innovation activities. I would assume that it wasn't clear from day one that this is going to be a fund. So how did it evolve, and what's your focus right now?
Yeah, very good question. I think there are 2 topics. One topic is the energy journey as such. When we started to discuss how to organize the energy industry in future, and our companies like E.ON, RWE, and so on and so forth, the idea was to create really real renewable, forward-looking future energy companies. And E.ON did this with carving out Uniper, their generation business, and RWE did this with founding Energy. And one layer of that, of both strategies in that time, was to foster, to help to motivate innovations in our industry to arrive where we need to arrive. And the first topic was not let's have set up a fund and then do the business. Let's first explore and understand what are the future businesses, what are the trends, what could happening, how does it look like. So both organizations started with quite open innovation organizations in that time. Mm-hmm. And to make the story a little bit shorter, where we arrived then in the very end was, if you wanted to create these future businesses which are needed for supplementing the energy business we have nowadays in place, you need to be really professional. You need to be part of this venture capital or innovation capital industry, which is looking into future energy technologies, and which then led into strategies where we fostered most of our capital and our attention into venture capital. And then this merger or takeover, E.ON took over Innogy, happened. And then that was a time where we could even further discuss and organize our innovation strategies, which ended up into setting up future energy ventures. And I guess we will talk later about this a bit more. Mm-hmm. And setting up an innovation function, which is really looking for solving future problems of the current organization, which is in-house, which is helping the business in the here and now to become more innovative by creating further revenues, decreasing costs, or adding new businesses here and there into the E.ON organization. And there's Future Energy Ventures, the venture capital platform, which is sourcing globally the most exciting energy technologies, investing into most exciting startups and teams. Mm-hmm. On one hand, and on the other hand, then helping the startups with business development by connecting the startups to E.ON or any other partners we have globally in our partnership.
Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting. When you started the journey of energy innovation or of creating in-house innovation or trying to transform the organization to think more about innovation and really go into business models that maybe 5 years ago you would have not thought about. What do you think were the main success factors that really helped Innogy to be at the forefront of all of this?
Yeah, this question always makes me to think, and I am digesting a bit. Mm-hmm. What was it really? I think there was many things, and I wouldn't say. Or I can't say today we have been really successful, because innovation is a long-term story, and Innogy just existed for a couple of years, isn't it? However, I think what was key and important in our organization, we understood this change, which happened not only as an exercise for looking for innovations and understanding technologies and new businesses. It was also about changing the mindsets, the way we've operated in the energy industry, the way we look into the future, and so on and so forth. So we started to forward. We started with a transformational program which transformed all businesses of the organization and helping them to become leaner, more cost-effective, more successful with regard to sales or generating power or whatever it was, but which was also influencing our mindset, our thinking, our way of operating. We could become more entrepreneurial, more open for new things, and so on and so forth. And I think that was main ingredients for a lot of good developments in Innogy and now in E.ON. Mm-hmm. And that was the ingredients also to then start sourcing in-house and ex-house for the most exciting innovations we could find for helping these innovations to grow on our platform, on the Innogy and now on the E.ON platform, to become a serious business.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think what you mentioned, I would just want to underline one point, which I think is really important to understand, that part of the journey, as you mentioned, was not just focusing on innovation as a separate kind of new thing that we want to do, but really transform the whole organization and by that create the platform for growth, actually. Yeah? And that's, I think, a very key point. In terms of your international spread and how the journey contributed to that, I know Innogy has been at the forefront at that point in time of opening up international venture offices, whether it was in Silicon Valley or in Tel Aviv. How would you say, or how important was that outside venturing and really dedicating to innovation hotspots around the world?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think there's always a global perspective and a local perspective. And the global perspective is energy sooner or later will be a fully renewable net zero carbon energy system and will operate globally. It will be interconnected and so on and so forth. And happy to exchange more about our strategy later. But if this is true, and that's our assumption, then you need to set up a global business, because then you source your innovations, and you will need to innovate the energy systems in all locations, so to say. So hence, we were always eager and keen to understand what's happening globally. What's also true is that innovations today are different applied in Asia than in America than in Europe. That also means different countries have different opportunities for startups to grow their technologies. So that's also a global trend we see. And first and foremost, we were always keen to be in markets which are really relevant for future energy technology. And if you look at the current landscape, it's North America and Europe and Asia, which are the most relevant markets which develop today's innovations for the future system. So we always were keen to be present there where these developments are happening. However, we always limited ourselves to North America and Europe because that's more close to our current business, to our capabilities, to our nature. And so on and so forth. With regard to, if you wanted to help, to scale, to develop, to work closely together with an innovation, with a startup, you need to be locally present, isn't it? You need to need to be face to face. You need to understand what are the problems. You need to help here and there. You need to have your ecosystem of people which then can help to grow a startup. So hence, the idea was always to source globally, but to support locally. And that's why we have the present organization of Future Energy Ventures globally. And we designed that in both organizations, Aeon and Energy in the past.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay, great. Then tell us a bit about the current setup of Future Energy Ventures and your focus.
Yeah, happy to. So Future Energy Ventures builds on what have been created, and we've discussed it already, and in Aeon and Energy in the past, and it's Aeon's global venture capital and collaboration platform. We are not only investing in the most exciting startups globally, from CSA to be and selectively in later stages, we are also helping then startups with connecting with large energy companies or any other large organizations which are close to what we see as the future energy system to create and build their business. That's our main USP we provide to the market. So we look at exciting technologies and then help the teams and the technology to onboard in the energy business into different markets. We have a strong portfolio with fast-growing startups. All together today, more than 60 portfolio companies in North America, Europe, including Israel. We have a team of 15 people, which are located in the Silicon Valley, in Tel Aviv, and in Europe. And from there, we support and help our startups on one hand, but we also connect with co-investors, with other large industrial players. We connect with tech experts or any expertise and people you need in order to grow and to scale a venture capital business. Mm-hmm. That's a little bit our organization in a nutshell, and happy to talk later about a little bit about strategy and what we are looking at and heading to.
Okay, great. I mean, let's tackle this right now, because I think everyone's really curious on what value chain steps you're focusing on, and in particular, that might also give a hint on where do you see the value chain evolve in the future.
I think there's 3 verticals we really focus our attention, and everything is embedded in this vision. The future energy system is fully renewable. Sourced with regard to energy. And if you think that's true, that really means we will have to integrate in future a lot of decentralized energy resources. Like think about PV, think about cars, think about storage, think about any kind of energy resource you use in this renewable world, and which really means you need to interconnect everything a little bit different than you do it today. In the past, we had a big power plant, a big energy management office, so to say, and then we sent electrons from A to B. A was the power plant and B was the big city. Mm-hmm. In the future, we have millions of devices which supplement this large power plant, which then will be the PV, the car, and so on, and as explained. But this needs to be connected totally differently because the ownership is differently, because the task is not a human task anymore, and so on and so forth. So we believe what you really need to focus on to create the software, the technology, the digital technology, which helps to connect everything and to generate new businesses. Especially if you think about decentralized energy resources, you then think about businesses behind the meter. So everything will be a little bit different. Then whom is selling? The customer is selling, or the former customer is selling, the new PV owner is selling, or the storage owner is selling, or the car owner is selling, who is buying, the utility is buying, or other customers are buying, and so on and so forth. So the entire organization of the system will be different, and that needs to be steered differently. And what you need to steer it, it's technology. And so we are intrigued by the idea to create this digital interconnected energy platform, mm-hmm. which will be kind of an internet on top of the physical energy infrastructure and will help to comprehensively manage the energy system to the benefit of all participants, not only utilities, also smaller producers, investment banks which owns onshore wind parks, and so on and so forth, or electrical vehicle owners. That's one direction. And if you think that through, decentralized energy resources, mobility, and so on and so forth, you see a lot of that part connected to cities, isn't it? So PVs are on top of roofs, cars drive in the city. So we really invest then also into technologies which are in the intersection between energy management system of the future, and future cities. So we invest into prop tech, which helps buildings to become more automated or more autonomous, which help then buildings to be part of the energy system, because buildings will produce energy, they will distribute energy, they will function as a utility in future. We then invest into certain software technologies which helps electrical vehicles to be to source energy wherever it would like to source energy based on the best prices on one hand, but also helping then the energy system to manage some demand and supply. We then invest into platforms which connect all the smaller devices we have talked about, the storage, a meter or whatever, in order to connect, to get the data, the insights you need to wisely and commercially manage then in future a bigger system, which is manifold owned by different players in the system. That are the two layers where we subject matter-wise invest into. And then lastly, the last vertical is future technologies. There are so many technologies out there which can be used in a future energy management system or future energy system. But there isn't any use case yet available. Think about a lot of artificial intelligence algorithms. Think about virtual and augmented reality solutions for remote operating assets. Think about cybersecurity, which is needed if you steer an energy system via an energy internet, so to say. So we invest into future technologies, which helps to build that future energy as we see it.
Mm-hmm. That sounds really exciting. I mean, in particular, I think the most exciting journey for everyone that's now focusing on the energy transition is really that convergence between telecommunication, mobility, and energy, converging in that smart city theme, kind of. I also heard in between the lines that there is also an assumption for a machine-to-machine economy, right? I mean, because we might have a lot of microtransactions running between machines without any human interaction. So what's your take on that?
The take on that, it is only this commercial interactions are only possible if you organize it between machines. Just think about your home. You have a PV plant, you may have a storage facility, and you may have a car, and you're not at home. So how to organize it? Or even if you're at home, you could trade energy every minute, every second, every day, and so on and so forth. How you will organize that? How you will know that what is the best moment and sourcing energy from the system for going to work tomorrow, or selling the entire storage of your car to the system, or even getting money for charging your car, and so on and so forth. That are typical jobs and tasks which technology will take over, and then so you will enter in a system where your car makes the business with the house of your neighbor, or your refrigerator may makes business accelerating a bit with the refrigerator of your neighbor, and so on and so forth. So commercially, it only makes sense if you can organize such businesses in future via technologies, via machine-to-machine trades. So, and I'm a strong believer that this future will arrive, not only in the energy system as such, but this will be also key for an able energy business of the future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exciting. Now, whenever there is innovation and there is a new industry coming up, there's a gold rush of startups and ideas. And how do you manage and how will your team manage actually to always stay on top this energy innovation? How do you filter between buzz and real substance in that space?
In general, we work as any other venture capital firm. And on one hand, no, we are getting a lot of deal flow since we have founded Future Energy Ventures inbound, maybe 100 companies per week or so, where we need to understand quite quickly what does. Is it something we would like to follow or not? I think we have simple processes, having our strategy in mind and then selecting wisely this one which fits. I think with regard to current markets and inflating and valuations, you also have to understand the valuation of the current technology, the potential of the current technology. We are looking into markets, future developments, how we see it, and checking everything up. I think the golden point in our process is we can always go back to an energy company and check it, and discuss with colleagues from the grid business, with colleagues from the retail business, with colleagues from the US, with colleagues in Europe and wherever. Does it make sense? When it will arrive? Is it already possible? How do you see it? What's your experience? And so on and so forth. And that helps a lot to select the most promising candidates for generating a viable business rather sooner than later from this more idealistic business models, which may be right in the longer term, but will be difficult to execute in the near term. I think in the short term, the answer is stick. We have a state-of-the-art venture capital process we run through, and we are quite disciplined to run through. And we use our broader ecosystem, our partners, the energy companies, to validate and give feedback and insights about the technologies. And I think there's a last point you need to think about. It's about technology as such. We from the energy industry are not the technologists of the future energy technologies. You always need someone on your platform or someone which is helping you then with understanding the technology. I think we are quite good at accessing technologies, how it could work in the energy system. Does it make sense? Is it feasible? And so on and so forth. But the underlying technology as such, that's another task. And here we usually have a network of technologists globally, which helps us to understand the technology much better. And we have a dedicated person on our platform, which is looking into all technology investments. and understanding how does it fit to the technology roadmap we have in mind, and how far the technology is developed, and how it could be developed in future.
All right. Yeah, I can imagine that this grounding to still like an operational base that you could always go to is a huge success factor compared to other venture funds that are out there that are purely, let's say, financially rooted. In terms of looking back now, the experience and the exciting journey from energy to the setup of future energy ventures, what are lessons learned that you can share and would like to share of running the fund and creating this journey?
Yeah, I think one thing which comes to my mind, it's a little bit reconnecting to what we have discussed in the very beginning. It's understand innovation. It's a transformation. If you wanted to connect it to a business partner, so I think it's easy to find an innovation which could make sense in the energy industry. And it's also easy to find innovation which could make sense in the energy industry, and someone in the organization you work with likes it. But it's much more difficult to connect an innovation, to test an organization, and to scale innovation in an organization. And what you mainly need for that, it's not technology capability, it's transformational capability. It's helping the organization to see, understand, to take over, to be willing to work with a startup, and so on and so forth. So it's also a transformational task, not only a venture capital investment task. You have to perform as a corporate venture capital firm working for large industrial clients. I think that's one thing. The second thing is, even if you have this you have this unfair advantage being close to energy companies and have more insights about the industry and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. The market is the market, and it's impossible for a large corporation to beat the venture capital market. Mm-hmm. If you wanted to play in this field, you need to play at the market terms, and you need to play wisely your advantages that you have. But you can't play it against the market terms and the market standards, which is true with regard to which returns you can achieve and you should achieve, which is true to the terms in a deal. Talking about exclusivity rights, any rights you would like to have coming from your acquiring business and coming from your mindset of an M&A acquisition of a company, and so on and so forth. So I think stick to the market terms and being a good citizen in the market. It's one learning. The second learning, and identifying and understanding a good business. It's one thing connecting the business to a partner and creating business development. It's much more difficult, and you need transformational task for that. And the third thing is about people. And honestly, it's the first thing, but I put it on the last because it's the most important one. It's people. Don't think you people from your organization are the best venture capitalists, and don't think the venture capitalists from the market are the best people which serve only your purpose. So you need to find the right mix of people, and you need to look. The people not only need to have the right capabilities, also the right mindset, which may is the right mindset in your base organization, your large corporation where you optimize and run large infrastructure. May is not the right mindset for running an innovation business, isn't it, Pierre? It should be a solution focused. It shouldn't be fixed-minded. It should be entrepreneurial, and so on and so forth. So if you choose people from your business, they should have the right mindset. But you need people from your business to scale such new technologies into your business and to create most impact and value for your organization. Mm-hmm. However, you also need people which could play the market. People from the venture capital market, which know the standard, which understand how to negotiate, which understand the rules, so that you can then combine both, leveraging your advantage, your unfair advantage on one hand, but also playing the right cards in the industry and being part of the best deals you should be part of.
All right, great, very insightful. Let's talk about the future a bit. What are the plans for Future Energy Ventures going from here?
Yeah, the future. So I would start with my passion. I would say our ideas will really fuel the new energy transition, or the energy transition as such. And I strongly believe we will arrive sooner than later in a world where everything is renewable and net zero carbon free. And that's our passion and vision we have on mind when we do things. And I would say we do everything which helps us to arrive there sooner than later. And we have a lot of things on mind. I think the next thing after merging both portfolios, venture capital portfolios, and launch Future Energy Ventures last year in October, the next time after consolidation is now to grow our platform further. And we are currently discussing that in Jan, how to grow. You could grow by investing more and more capital. That's one strategy. But other strategy could be to look for partners to invest into our platform, and then together with other investors growing our platform further. That's a discussion we currently have. And please stay tuned. Happy to discuss that in one of our next podcasts with you. But what we really wanted to do is we wanted to grow our platform. We wanted to invest into more startups. We wanted to get quicker to our ambition of this new energy system. And I think there are a lot of new trends also happening with regard to COVID and so on and so forth. So if you look at markets, what we see a lot of capital now in our markets. Last year, we had 500 billion euros for energy transition investment in the market. And I guess this will be overachieved this year. Largely, you see all this new financial instruments also in our industry. You see a lot of SPAC transactions. You see a lot of new IPOs. Euronext or other stock exchanges for new capital, as we have seen in the early 2000s, late 90s already in Europe and North America. So there's a lot of capital on one hand, and there's a lot of talent on the other hand. There's so many new talents coming to the market with the true passion to change the world, to make the planet safe, and to change our energy system together. And this both capital experience we already have and this new talent will create further growth. And will further accelerate the energy transition by far. But we already see today is also a lot of additional capital in our current capital rounds of our startups. So more or less, most of the rounds are oversubscribed. It's really difficult also for capital to find its right way. So we need also to create more new innovations. But then looking a little bit more into the technology or into the innovation markets, what we also see, we see new themes. We see the theme of hydrogen, which will be really instrumental for making an energy system, especially energy heating system, sustainable in future, and maybe for long distance and large transportations, or for transportations by vessels and so on and so forth. We see the topic of remote operating asset base, so really autonomous production facilities, autonomous energy production facilities or energy infrastructure facilities, and so on and so forth. We see the trend about ESG, sustainability, and so on and so forth. More and more companies develop plans to be net zero carbon in the next decades, and so on and so forth. And it fosters a lot of more thinking how to achieve that, how to track that, how to use that. I think we also see the trends going even further into cities and further connecting energy and cities, as well discussing food and food production and agri-tech and so on and so forth. So we see a lot of trends which also somehow connects to climate change and actions against climate change.
Great. I mean, I really love from my humble point of view how the energy industry turned from a very stable, some would call it maybe boring kind of industry 20 years ago, to one of the most exciting places right now, with so much innovation happening and so much, let's say, value creation that can be done, as you said, from new talent coming into the industry. Connecting to that point, what's your advice for people that maybe just come out fresh out of university or that want to change into the energy industry? What's your advice for people to start getting involved in the energy transition?
There's a lot of excitement about what we are doing in Future Energy Ventures, what we are doing in the energy industry, what you are doing on your side, being on consultancy and others. We all working together and make that happen. It's not only Future Energy Ventures, not only the utility, it's us as an ecosystem working together. Yeah. And the young people like it and they wanted to be part of it. I think it's to a younger person, with my experience, I would always say, stand up to your beliefs, your passion, and follow your guts, and then you will achieve you will achieve what you need to achieve in life. And it may be different tomorrow than it is today, but that's the right thing to go forward. Follow your passion, work hard, but also live hard, enjoy your life. That are the topics I would exchange in that conversations, or I'm exchanging in that conversations. The other topic is we need you. We need the passion and the talents of these younger people. If you look at our industry, that needs to be fully new organized. I only can say in that conversations that energy is one of the most exciting topics. I mean, it was always exciting when we joined the industry, or I joined a little bit earlier than you, Pierre. But when we joined the industry, it was always hot. It was not that emotional than it is today, but we all wanted to give to people is energy so that they could come home, turn on their TV, their radio, whatever, and use energy for enjoying their life. And that has not changed, but we wanted to change the underlying technology for producing the energy in future. And that's quite complicated, and we need a lot of smart people to do so. And I'm absolutely confident that people will join us with that vision. The question is more what to recommend to the larger organizations, which are in front of this wave and this change, what to do to attract these talents, and what are the right strategies for getting all these good people and talented and gifted people into their organizations.
Mm-hmm. I think, Jan, fantastic closing words. And looking at the time, we already run out of time. I feel we could easily double the time and continue the discussion. It was super interesting. So on behalf of everyone in the audience, thank you so much for sharing the exciting insights on Future Energy Ventures, and looking forward to connect in the future.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for having me, and looking forward to the next conversation.
Great. Thank you, Jan.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.